Mindful Flow Monday, and it's a new moon today, so the energies are kind of shifting. They've been slowly making that transition the last 3 days, and then the effects of this new moon will continue to roll out for the next 3 days. So if you happen to be a little bit energetically sensitive, you may have sensed a little bit of this wave of shifting, if you will. I know this morning I woke up and I was feeling a little bit angsty, so I took myself for a walk. I feel a little bit better now. I know practice will help with that too. So we're just going to breathe and feel our way into all of these different facets of practice, just allowing ourselves to experience breath, body, stillness, everything with a very open mind, a very open heart. So if particular emotions or sensations come rushing through, just let yourself feel into those non-judgmentally, maybe a little bit of curiosity. And the essence of new moons, as far as meditation and stuff like that, we take a moment to pause and reflect on the things that have transpired over the last month or the last several months. And we look on those things and see what's there that we might be willing to finally set aside or lay to rest, feeling like those things have had their cycle of life and we're ready to be done with them. And at the same time, with the new moon, there's this sense of renewal. It's a time to look forward with a little bit of hope, optimism, and just seeing what it is that we're willing to start to bring into our lives that will carry us forward, things that we're willing to work with or explore. Maybe it's something that's been sitting on the back burner or just off to the side, and now you feel you're in a place to bring that into your life and have the chance to work with it now. So there's a lot of cool stuff that can happen on the new moons. Of the phases of the moons, the new moon tends to be the one that I like to work with the most, that fresh energy coming in. Other people love full moons. So with all of that kind of preamble that I've just put out there, we'll begin by taking a moment to just settle into our comfortable seats, close the eyes, and just settle in with the breath. And perhaps just scraping the surface, seeing if there's any part of you that has kind of gone through its cycle and you feel it's time to just let it go, to set it aside or bury it deep into the ground. These things that we're willing to lay to rest could be actions, patterns of behavior, tasks, any number of things. Just letting yourself breathe in, around, and through any of those thoughts that might arise. Using your own choice of words to just transition those things that may have arisen for you into a place of release. And we then come to draw in or welcome in the things that we're willing to embrace for this new cycle. Things we wish to invite in. Perhaps it's something that started in the previous cycles that feels like it's starting to come to fruition, and this might be the cycle between the July and August new moons where you get that last little push to bring that thing to fruition. So just being aware of that possibility as well. Open heart, open mind, gentleness, kindness. Slowly beginning to just break free from some of that thought patterning, the releasing and the renewal. Just find your breath. Let it get a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. Seeing if you can breathe into tight spaces. Breathe through any little achy spots that might be present. And we'll use a very audible exhale to just help transition into places of movement for our practice this morning. So we're going to use the movement of seated cow-cat to get that little bit of an expulsion of breath. So hands on the knees or the thighs, however you're structured. And with an inhale, we're going to pull the head heart forward, gazing into your space. Take a deep, deep inhale. And then you're going to round and push out the spine and get that ha. Inhale, pull forward. And round it out. Again. Come out of that seated cow-cat and find your way into Sufi grind or Sufi circles. They're one and the same. Just freedom of movement here out of this suggested shape. So the circles can be as large or as small as you need them to be in this moment. Just making note of the direction you've chosen to move in. And the next time that you're starting to lean towards your feet, you're going to pause there, walk the hands away from you in whatever range of motion makes sense. So it may be very subtle this morning, or it may be your body wants to go really deep. Beautiful deep breaths. And once again, inviting space into those tighter areas. Try to relax and soften. And gently walking yourself back. Switching the legs around if you were sitting cross-legged, so they're going in the opposite way. And then we take our circles and let them move around in the opposite direction. Just finding whatever rhythm works for you here. And let's come to find that forward fold again. Tucking in, leaning towards the feet, and then gradually walking the hands away from you in whatever range is accessible in this orientation. Send all of that rich breath into those achy little spots. Infusing newness, that idea of fresh energy into stagnant places. And coming to let yourself retreat on your next breath. Let's bring ourselves around to all fours. Finding that tabletop, fanning out through those fingers, subtle engagement through the lower abdominals here. Subtle tucking of the tail, breathing and feeling into the length in your spine, especially the low back. That's possible. And as you're here, focus on that contraction through the abdominal. So as you breathe in, you feel the belly loosen off and pull away slightly. And then as you exhale, there's this contraction that scoops from the pelvic floor up towards the navel. And we're just going to focus on that energy near the Hara point or the Dantian. Just using this to fan the flames of our second and third chakras, creativity, willpower. The second chakra below the navel and stops at the top of the pubic bone, housed in moon energies and feminine energies. And let's start to bring some movement in little by little. So with your next inhale, let that belly expand a little bit more. Just a subtle movement in the spine. And then exhale, contracting. Maybe the tailbone drops a little bit, same with the head. And just keep working through this subtle movement. Just listening to your body as you start to bring this articulation of spine into the practice. Exhaling, rounding. Eventually you get to a point where you might be willing to go for the full range of motion for cow, cat, and the belly gets really low with the inhale as the crown and the tail float. And then on the exhale, we pull the belly button deep towards the spine as we round. And we just keep going back and forth. All of that attention into that hara point, that low belly to the top of the pubic bone. Let's do one more cow cat. Coming back to tabletop. So we're going to step forward with the right foot. Coming into a low lunge. So you may need to pad up that left knee. And it'll really depend on your body this morning as to how deep you get into this. So I'm going to get fairly far into this lunge. Yours would be more of a 90-90 or somewhere in between. And we're just going to support ourselves with hands on that right thigh, just above the knee, lifting up through the torso. So hopefully there's a little bit of a sensation of stretch through the front of that left leg into those hip flexors. Breathe. Trying to relax that right foot rather than the toes gripping into your mat. Find the softness within the effort. And then we'll slowly retreat. So bending deeply into that left knee, lift the right toes. And it might be that this is the extension you come into, or maybe you can sit back a little bit, support yourself on hands, or come all the way back onto the heel. I'm just going to breathe here for a moment. Now we're going to turn this into a little bit of a flow here. So gently helping yourself back to that lunge. Inhaling, coming forward, just being really mindful of your knees this morning. Exhale, extend the right leg, bend into the left one. Good stuff. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And last one. Come forward. And retreat. So let's come forward. Make this a 90-90 expression if you were a bit deeper. So now both knees have more or less the same angulation to them. Right elbow to the knee thigh, right hand to the low belly. And let's just sweep that left arm up. You can wiggle the fingers, roll through the wrists. And then let that left arm stabilize, reaching up. And slowly we release. We're going to take this around to the other side. So your left hand is going to come to the outside of your right knee thigh. Bracing yourself there, reach the right arm up. And maybe you tip over slightly so there's a little arc, a bit of a deeper stretch in that right side. Maybe you're just straight up and down. And we'll let that go. Bracing yourself however you need to. We'll bring that right knee back underneath our bodies. Returning to tabletop. Pause. Feel. Resist the urge to shake or wiggle. It's being curious about those sensations that come rushing through. A little bit of a yin attitude to our yang or moving practice this morning. While the body continues to integrate there, we're going to step forward with that left foot coming into that lunge. So again, yours could be fairly gradual. It could be the 90-90, or maybe you're lunging and sinking in a little bit deeper as I am this morning. So again, we're just looking for an inkling of sensation through the front of the right leg hip area, so the hip flexors. Bracing ourselves with the hands to the left knee, thigh, and just lift the chest, lift the gaze, and breathe. Trying to convince some of those muscles to take a break from contracting excessively. And don't forget to relax your left foot. There's no need to be gripping the ground with your toes. One more breath here. And we make that transition to the extension of the front leg. So whatever stage is accessible on this side might have a similar flavor to it, or you might have to do something completely different from the first time through. And we then find that little rhythm and flow. So taking your time, come forward, the inhale, lift the head, the heart, and then exhale, round, push our way back. Inhale, we come forward. Exhale, glide your way back. Two more just like that, coming forward. Retreat. Last one. So coming back, finding that 90-90 setup now if you were doing something other than that position for the flow. And we start with the twist. So left elbow to the left knee, thigh area. And we slowly reach up with that right arm. Wiggle the fingers, roll through the wrists. Remember those lovely deep breaths for support, and then lengthen, stabilize that extension in the arm as best you can. Fingers reaching up towards the sky. Slowly releasing, we're going to take that twist the other way so that right hand comes to the outside of that left knee, thigh, and we swing up with the left arm. So it could be a straight extension, or maybe you end up reaching out to the right slightly to get a little more length and release through the left waist. We've got one more breath. Gently releasing. So from here, grounding your hands however you need to, we're going to tuck the toes of that right foot underneath. Take that knee off the mat and shuffle step back with your left foot, finding a down dog. Walk it out. And let's stabilize our down dog. We're going to take the feet wider, so towards the edges of your mat. Change the perspective a little bit. And just breathing into this for a moment. See if you can let your shoulder blades try to hug towards one another. That's going to create some space in the shoulders, in the chest. Your next inhale, lift the heels, let your weight shift forward into the hands slightly. And then exhale, lower the heels down. Little crossbody reach here. So keeping your left hand on the mat, free your right hand and see if you can reach through to find anywhere along that left leg to brace to. So it could be ankle or calf or somewhere a bit further up. Take a breath in that twist and let it go. Lift the heels and lower down. Taking our twist the other way around. So rooting into your right hand, take the left hand, cross it over to that right leg, and breathe. One more breath. Let it go. Lift the heels, lower them down. Step the feet a little bit closer, and then walk your hands back towards your feet, coming to dangling here. Hold on to opposite elbows, shake out your head. Just giving ourselves a moment to process that little exploration in down dog. And releasing the hands from the elbows if they were still there. We inhale, gently begin to pull ourselves up towards standing vertebrae by vertebrae. Take your time. Use that activation in those lower abdominals. Svadhisthana, the second chakra. Moon and feminine energies. And feel into that wave of prana, of energy, life force as it comes rushing through as your body lengthens. Relax your feet, your knees. Grounding yourself here in your Tadasana, your mountain pose. All right, so let's come into a few half salutations from here. We begin by bringing the hands together at the heart center. Remember to keep yourself grounded, feet, legs relaxed. Inhale, we circle up and overhead, maybe a little back bend. Exhale, dive. Inhale, come halfway up. Feel those lower abdominals ignite in that movement. Exhale, let everything relax, fold back in. Open your wings, engage through that lower core, and sweep your way back up towards standing and straw to heart. Do that 3 more times. Sun breath. Swan dive. Halfway up. Feel that little flicker in the core. Exhale, fold. Reverse the dive to heart. 2 more. Sun breath. And dive. Halfway up. And hold. Reverse. Heart. Last one, really place the attention on the lower abdominals. Exhale, dive. Halfway up. Fold. Reverse the dive as you rise. Heart. Pausing here. Feel into the lingering effects. We'll release the hands. So we're going to step near the top of our mats if you're not already there. A little bit of triangle and warrior two practice this morning. So we're going to start by shifting the weight into the right foot. Feeling yourself start to stabilize on that side. And when you're ready, pick up your left foot, step back and open with it. So you're facing the long edge of your mat. And you'll play with the spacing. So if you start to glide your hips front to back, more or less in a level plane, you don't want to do a big bum waggle and your hips crack like mine just did. So you're just looking for spacing so that you can move freely. You don't feel like you're getting bound up anywhere. So right foot pointing forward, left foot pointing out to the side. We're facing the left edge of our mat. So we begin here. We'll lift the arms and turn the palms up. Let's just swivel the head back to that left arm. Make sure that you're parallel to the ground. Sometimes when we can't see what's happening, that back arm will drift in strange ways. So just finding that little bit of balance first. And then we'll turn the palms down. Bring the gaze forward to those right fingertips. Exhale, bend into your right knee, sink in, warrior two. Give all of those back muscles in your left leg a little bit of a squeeze for stability. Good. So we're going to inhale, straighten the right leg, let the arms sweep up overhead. And then exhale, sink in. Let again, inhale, reach up and straighten. Exhale, sink. Last time, reaching up. Sinking in. So we're going to straighten that front leg. Imagine someone's grabbed hold of your right wrist and you begin to draw your body forward. And then we tip over. So let the right hand come somewhere along the inseam of the leg and the left arm reaches up towards the sky. Or if the shoulder's tender this morning, you can just tuck that left hand into the low back and just worry about the shoulder rather than the full arm extension. So this is your triangle pose, Trikonasana. Give it one more breath. Following the exhale all the way to empty, you get that contraction in the lower abdominals, Svadhisthana. Use that contraction to draw yourself up, relax the arms. Turn that right foot in. So now you're facing the long edge of your mat. Hands to the hips. Get tall with an inhale. Exhale, hinge and fold forward as far as your body will carry you. Maybe releasing the hands down towards the mat. Adjusting the position of your feet if necessary. And then we take our time to come out of this forward fold. Root into your hands, turn your heels in, and then bring the hands up to the knees, thighs, uncurl. And we're just gonna do-si-do. So we'll turn the right foot in, the left foot out. So you're facing probably the back edge of your mat. So we start with this warrior two exploration here. Let's begin by floating the arms up. So the left arm is leading, right arm is trailing. We're going to swivel our head to look at that right arm behind us, bring it parallel. Let's turn the palms up. Bring your gaze forward to that left hand. Turn the palms down. Let's bend into that left knee, find our warrior two. As soon as you bend into that left knee, start to squeeze all the big muscles in your right leg for stability. So it doesn't feel like you're dumping forward, you're actually holding yourself center. And we find the flow. So you inhale, straighten the leg, let the arms reach up. Exhale, sink in. Inhale, straighten. Good. Sink. One more time. And sink it into that warrior two. Straighten the left leg. We come into our triangle pose. So someone's now grabbing hold of your left wrist. They're dragging you forward in this long line. And then the arm drops when you hit your stopping point. Right arm reaches up, or you can just tuck that hand into the low back if that's better for your arms and shoulders this morning. Breathe. We've got one more breath here in our Trikonasana, our triangle pose. Use the exhale to pull yourself back up towards center. Relax the arms. Turn the left foot in, facing the long edge of the mat. Hands to the hips. We're going to fold one more time. Get tall. And then exhale, hinge and fold. Releasing the arms down to some other stability point. So it could be that you're bracing on your body. Could be that you can bring the hands to the ground, or maybe even get a bit lower. And we'll slowly help ourselves out here. Bracing however you need to. Shuffle, wiggle, bring your feet underneath you so you're in your forward fold. Little pivot so you're facing the top part of your mat. And let's just uncurl. Pull the body up towards standing. Bring the hands to the low back. So you're pushing down on the sacrum, that little triangle bone. Just creating some space there. And at the same time, we're opening through the chest, pulling the shoulders back. Gaze turns up slightly. Take a nice deep breath there. And we'll let that go. Release the arms. Shake them out if you'd like. We'll find our way down towards the mat. We draw the hands to heart. Sun breath with an inhale. Exhale, dive. Come halfway up. And fold. Bending into the knees, root your hands. Step your way back to down dog. One more exploration for down dog this morning. So stepping your feet really close to one another. We're going to pick up the left leg and tuck that foot in behind the right leg. So you're crossing the legs. Probably have to bend the knees a little bit to maintain some sense of stability here. Yes, it feels awkward. And then we'll release. Bring the left foot back to its proper side. Reset, bend the knees slightly if you need to. And then we pick up that right leg, cross it in behind the left one. Stabilize there for just a moment. And we lower down, so uncrossing. Lower the knees, send the hips back towards the heels, take a child's pose. Making that child's pose your own, find that little reset button in your practice at this point in time. Let's take a twist while we're here in our child's pose. You may wish to widen your knees a little bit more, if that's manageable in your system. We're going to push into our hands, so we're lengthening the arms here. Take the right arm, thread it underneath the left one, and then lower down. Maybe you can take your left hand away from the mat and wrap it around into your low back if your body will allow you to do so this morning. And we'll give it one more breath. Bring the left palm underneath the shoulder, push away, unwind, and sink back into your child's pose for a moment. And let's take our twist the other side. So bracing in the hands, the left arm that threads underneath this time. Diving under, lowering down. Now the right arm stays reaching or it sweeps around into your low back. One last breath here. Unwinding, that right palm comes to the floor and you slowly push up and away. We're going to turn ourselves over onto our backs on the mat. Bring the feet to the ground. And take a little bit of an extended pause here. Bringing in that sense of renewal, of newness, intentions for this new moon cycle. As these thoughts and intentions are rolling around in your mind space, percolating up through your body, you let inner wisdom guide you for this last little piece of practice. So if you're perfectly content to stay in a neutral form and eventually drop into Shavasana from here, then let yourself do that. However, if your body's needing movement, perhaps some twisting, maybe it's knees to chest or a little bit of both, maybe it's bridge pose or something else, just giving yourself the next couple of minutes to explore this space of freedom in your practice, curiosity, newness. And just continuing to go with that flow of exploration. Eventually, in your own time, you'll come into some form of resting pose. Could be a child's pose, could be a traditional Shavasana, could be that you just want to lay face first, so prone, and just hug the ground. It's the ultimate expression of compassion and care for yourself. When you listen to those little inner whispers and let them guide you to where you need to be, to let the thinking mind dissolve and allow all the feeling parts to just lead you to where you need to be to complete your practice. As movement eventually gives way to stillness, the breath leads you to a place of surrender. It might be that your breath returns to a more familiar rhythm. Or maybe You intentionally craft the exhales to be just a little longer than the inhales. Feeling your body get heavier. Feeling your body, your heart, your mind, everything reach into bigger, expansive regions beyond the physical limits of your body, beyond the frame of your mat, the space in which you find yourself. Just let yourself grow exponentially. And in that expansion, feeling weighted and yet weightless at the same time, floating along. Breathing and allowing into any and all things that may pass through your experience. Just this. this back to you, to the space in which you find yourself. Becoming aware of your breath, body, heart, and mind as they are now. And with a sense of curiosity and newness about yourself, beginning to shift and move as you begin to bring your practice to a close. Taking your time, stretching, yawning, rolling and writhing around until eventually you're ready to find your way through to sitting. And as you restructure yourself into that seated place, find that regal nature that resides within all of us, where you get taller, you feel your body expanding in all directions, especially as you reach between heaven and earth. Take a breath. Invite our hands to join together at the heart center, Anjali Mudra. As we come to find gratitude towards ourselves for the courage and the willingness to step on the mat to practice this morning. We offer thanks to all the puzzle pieces of life that fell into place to allow us to practice in these ways. We'll close with the sound of Om 3 times this morning. And as we're chanting our Oms, there'll be 3 touch points. So the joined hands will first come to the third eye, which is the place where we see the truth. And then we'll come down in front of mouth and throat, a place where we speak the truth. And from there, they'll return to heart, to that place where we always know the truth. So 3 Oms with the 3 touch points. We'll take the inhale. Let it go. Hands finding their way to the third eye. Taking the breath in. To the mouth and throat. And returning to heart. Thank you for your practice. Happy New Moon Day. Namaste.